Hello, everybody! It stopped for a second and didn't want to go live. Hi! I'm Rachel Arazo. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful evening, and I hope everyone is doing great. I'll wait for people to show up. Let me refresh the page and get comments. I hope you have been having an awesome week. I know today, for the Summer of Magic, I've been jumping up and down all day. I'm like, it's here! Oh my god, I'm so excited. Hi, Brittany! I'm glad you can make it. I'm gonna test and see about comments. If you see me randomly looking up, it's because I have comments up there. So I'm looking all over the place. Hi, everybody! Yay! People are popping in. Hello, hello. You know me, I like to show up a little bit early. Awesome. Let me pull up comments up here just to make it a bit easier on myself. How is everyone? Have you guys been enjoying the first day of the event so far? I know Kai had an amazing presentation earlier, and it was just, there's so much fantastic energy going on right now, and I'm so excited. So, I know that in preparation for today, I've been digging through all of my theater books and all of my scripts. I've been going through my entire library. You can see I have a stack of it right here. Just digging all the wonderful information up for you guys. I know this past weekend I was also a big part of getting ready for an event like this is all of the self-care that comes involved, and we need to make sure we nurture ourselves so then we can be like the sponges we want to be and absorb all the information, just get it all in. You can see I have a awesome. Stack of yes! Sound works! Can everybody see me okay? I just want to make sure, just because the monitor likes to flicker up there. Awesome. Hi, Mimi. Hi, Pamela. I'm glad you'll be catching up. Hi, Kai. I'm excited too. I'm excited to talk. And this is fantastic because this is the first time. Normally I teach tarot, but this is the first time I'm going to be giving everybody a look into my palmistry practice. So I'm like, I'm excited. I'm excited. So while comments pop up there, let me take a moment to introduce myself. So, hello, my name is Rachel Arazo, and I absolutely love to work with people to magnify their natural psychic abilities and expand their divination practice and revamp both their personal beliefs and their spiritual beliefs. And I got started in 2014, and it was really more... I feel a lot of us here can resonate with the fact that you start your business purely out of a need, where sometimes it's because you have a calling for it and you've been ignoring it, but then after a while you're just like, well, I may as well go all the way in here because I have no other options. And it was that way. I was postpartum with my baby, who is now 2, and it was just, I was like, I'll start with this tarot reading thing. And then I officially started teaching 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years this year. So I help people by giving them easy and fun exercises in order to unlock their intuition. I think making things harder than it needs to be and stressing people out about how to start a divination practice is bullshit. That's not me. I also use my theater and musical background, which is why you might see me do the theatrics with the hands. I'm very expressive. In order to teach people how to read tarot, read palms, and all their different lovely types of divination without memorization. Okay, it's relying more on your personal experience and not so much what a keyword or a flashcard says, because that's no fun. Your intuition it's not strict like that. And I also do this by providing a supportive and divination-centered community where experimenting with your practice, with your style, and just expanding your knowledge as a reader and a practitioner is more than welcome. I genuinely encourage that. So today, I'm going to be sharing with you how to use palmistry to find your patron god and goddess. And the reason how I'm going to be teaching you how to do this is showing you how the lines on your hand can literally point you to which deity wants to work with you or your energy meshes the best with. I'm going to be showing you how to introduce yourself respectfully and in easy everyday ways, because not all the time do we have an altar that takes forever to set up. And how you can build your spiritual, your magical, and your business practice by looking at your palm and taking directions from your gods and goddesses. So lots of fun things that are going to be happening. Let me catch up on comments now that they're up. Awesome. Hi, Jenny. Let's see. Hi, Lisa. Yes, how awesome is this week? It's amazing. I'm excited. Awesome. So we have people in. Let's get started. So when I first started with any kind of energy work, just to give you some background about me, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Especially with talking to spirits and all of that. I didn't know. I was raised a Jehovah's Witness, and for those that don't know, it's just a very religiously strict background. And it determined the kind of clothes that I would wear, whether or not I'd say the national anthem, having a birthday, and how I spent my Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sundays. It was time consuming. So when I went off to college, I was like, screw that, I'm gonna get away from this practice. I don't like it, it's not me, especially with a lot of things that were going on in my life. So when I broke away from the truth, as they like to call it, I was very much anti-established religion. And what we're gonna be talking about today, you don't have to have an established religion either. But you'll notice that belief is a big thing for me. Because I was happy with being spiritual and saying that I'd like the thought of something out there, but I didn't make any kind of effort to find out. Because I didn't like believing that I needed a name for what I believed, even though part of me loved having that kind of label, having something to call myself, especially with a family as restricted as I have. I didn't like believing in a higher power or a being or anything like that, because every time I called for them growing up, and a lot of us have traumatic childhoods and difficult experiences we've all gone through. It was difficult calling for someone and no one answering. So that was another problem for me. And then just creating a regular practice of anything, acknowledging that maybe this other being that everybody talks about is just another energy, just like I am, and it's not as formal as it is. I didn't like having a strict dogma to where I needed to fear something that apparently loved me. Does that make sense? Does anybody here resonate with that? Hi, Krista. Let's see, Tammy. Hi, Tammy. My husband was raised Jehovah's Witness and no longer. Yeah, I was that way since I was born up until, I think when I was 11, I officially denounced it, but they didn't let me stop going to the meetings until I was 18. It was really strict. Hi, Patricia. Amanda says, I felt that way not out of wanting a label for years. Yeah, because we have this thing about labels, and even putting a label on something like a psychic ability or our intuition, and just having a hard time of accepting that is the one path. I must believe that. So it was difficult for me. But once I sat down to figure out what I personally believed, and I started studying and looking up mythology, something I wasn't allowed to do beforehand, and experiencing, my own energetic experiences and my own psychic experiences and going through literature, I realized that in order to be a powerful psychic and a powerful reader in general and a powerful person, you need to have some kind of basis for belief. You have to believe in yourself and have some kind of confidence, because if we have a spiritual business, as all of us in this group do, how in the world are we going to heal other people and help other people with their lives if we don't have any form of belief in ourselves? I'm a big person in you talk the talk and you walk the walk. So that's how come any person that I try to teach or I try to work with one-on-one for a reading or coaching or anything, I always make sure I've done the exercises myself, because I don't resonate with those teachers that don't do that. Okay, because it's one thing to say something, but it's quite another to actually go through the process yourself, because then you have firsthand experience. And there's such a power in knowing that you have evolved from something and owning it yourself. And palmistry, the reason why I love this so much, and it's not just, you know, because of my theatrics in my hands and everything, but palmistry tells a story of our lives in more than just tarot does. It's like, because I've been teaching tarot for so long, but when it comes to palmistry, I wanted something that I could easily carry around with me every day. My hands are not detachable, whereas I would have to carry cards with me every day. They're right there. And they change every single day based off of my own actions, based off of possible things that could be popping up. So it makes a wonderful divination style for you to keep you on your toes and to force you to continue learning every single day and to keep a track of what do you want to happen to make a certain line stronger, or how can I make this fade into the background so it's not as big as an issue. Okay, and our destiny line are in particular, which stems up from the middle of the hand. I'm not talking about the curved line here, okay? That's your lifeline. I'm talking about your destiny line, which will start at the wrist and it'll point to one of your fingers. That line in particular can tell us which career is best for us, how our financial life will look, which spiritual path works best for us, and which deity is talking to us. Because all the lines on our hands can change over time, and that destiny line, it'll move depending on where your focus is, and it'll match up with a different deity or energy. Does that make sense? Do I have everybody so far? Give me hearts or squares. Not hearts or squares, but hearts or likes if you have a question. Or if you get it. Labels are for jars. I love that, Tammy. I'm gonna nab that one. Kimberly, hi Kimberly. It's a part of why I had a lot of resistance even trying to engage in spiritual religious communities. Absolutely. Because if you don't have a label for yourself, it's kind of difficult. But now I'm at that point, I'm so eclectic. At least then I know where some of my beliefs are coming from. Why doesn't a Jehovah's Witness work for me? Why does Buddhist and Taoism and Hinduism and all of that do work for me? And it helps you figure out where you are now, and then in turn, because you're discovering more of yourself and you're laying down your bricks more, it helps the lines be more defined. You know. Hi Michelle! Hi Amethyst! Very great to see you guys. Pamela Thesis, hi! You have a very square palm. Yeah, actually, we're going to talk a little bit about shapes in a second. So that does have something to go into it. I'm glad that you brought that up. Amanda, does it matter which hand we look at for specific lines? That's a wonderful question. So there is a difference for your hand for this that we will be looking at. Your dominant hand, which for me is the right hand, is what is going on right now. Your non-dominant hand, so my left hand, tells you over the course of your life. It's looking at a world map versus a GPS. Okay, so a world map will tell you generally where things are going, what land masses are where, things like that. A GPS will tell you your exact position. Does that make sense? Another thing that may help you understand lines more as we go through this, because all of your lines can change. Just like any other divination, things are always subject to change. Think of your hand like a riverbed, and where you direct the energy flow, where you decide to send the erosion and pick up the sediment and move things around, that'll determine what lines will show up. So if you want a river to flow in a certain direction and make something stronger, that'll happen. But you will see it more happen immediately on your dominant hand. Your non-dominant will be more over time. So that's a wonderful question. I'm glad that you asked that. So before we get started too, here's a couple things to keep in mind. So Pamela, you mentioned shapes. So our hands are all shaped differently, and they will be a combination of different shapes. And when I say shape, I mean whether you have a square or an oblong palm, and how short or how long your fingers are. Okay, so my hand is a pretty good representation of an earth hand. So these people are more stubborn. They have a more square palm. Like literally you can see the ridge here. They have shorter fingers. They're more detail oriented, things like that. People with a square palm and longer fingers are fire hands. And think of it like tarot suits. So think of people in the Cup of Wands. They're different than people in the Suit of Pentacles. Makes sense. They're more creative and fiery. They have a temper. They don't care about the details. They just want to get it done, 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 done. Water hands are very slender and very thin. They don't have all this mess on the side like I do. And they have very long fingers. So they are very inquisitive and very nurturing and free-flowing. There are suits of cups. And then air hands have have an oblong palm with shorter fingers. So they are more inquisitive and intellectual. They don't care. They care some for detail because they can be very meticulous, but not too much. Does that make sense? So take a look at your palm, okay? And see, are my fingers short or are they long and slender? Do I have a hand that is square, or do I have a hand that may jut out in some places? Both are absolutely valid. Don't judge your hands here. Don't compare your hands to other people because your hand is a product of your own life experience. Don't do that. But that will determine also the kind of deity that wants to call for you, and it will determine your personality more. Okay? This is why I say if you know palm reading, you can wow a client before they as soon as they walk in the door and give you a handshake. You can tell exactly the kind of person you're going to be dealing with. Because all they need to do is shake your hand. All you got to do is look at it at a glance. I get amazing cashiers at the grocery store, and I only have to see their hand from a distance. It's super easy. It's super fun. I have long palms and long fingers, so you have a very watery hand, Pamela Jones. Pamela Thesis says, how do the shapes of the palm relate to your sun sign, or does it at all? Not that I have noticed, but we will be talking about the planets in a moment. Different parts of your hands will correspond to astrology. We will get to that in a moment. You're ahead of me. You must be psychic. Amanda says, I can't tell if my fingers are long or short since I'm a short person in general. We can take a look at your hands tomorrow and see how that goes. Let's see. She talked about Susan. What's going on with Susan? Everybody's going to be staring at their hand this entire workshop, and I love it so much, so no worries. It's okay. You just have to listen to me and look at me for reference. Hi, Catherine. I can never get this, but I think I have a fire. Yay! Which makes sense for your personality. You care more about, I need things now. Let's go. So you get caught up because you have to go back over the little details. That makes sense from what I've seen from you, Catherine. Hi, Brittany. I think mine is earth, possibly air. It's not super square. It's a cute hand. Yeah, and don't worry. There's more than just those 4 elements. There's psychic hands. There's metal hands. There's all kinds of stuff like that. So you're not going to be limited to just those 4 things. Actually, in the link that I'm going to give you all later, I'm going to give you some book recommendations to where you can expand your palmistry practice if you choose to do so. And there's a couple books in there that will actually help you figure out which exact hand you have. So don't worry. You're absolutely fine. Kai, that makes sense for you. She says, like, I think I'm air, square palm, long fingers. Yep, that makes sense for you. Yeah. It's super awesome. So keep that in mind, because if we separate things into elements, that will also determine which deities will come to you, because different deities correspond with different elements, if you really break them down and make them very simple. Something else to keep in mind, not all the time will a line point to which deity wants to work with you the most. We will have discoloration pop up on our hands. Now, if you see anything like white or blue or green or yellow, if it's black or purple, go to the doctor, okay? That's bad discoloration. That's your health needs an immediate look at it. So please go to the doctor if you see purple discoloration on all of your stuff, okay? Scars and cuts and tattoos do matter, so take those into consideration, okay? But that is super, super detailed. We're not going to do that right now. That's just surface level. But if you see discoloration, please take care of your health. Go to a doctor. If you see just red or pink dots on an area, so like you can see where there's some red here, just looking at my hand right now, make sure you have good lighting, like natural lighting like I have right now, for the best results. That is where there's the most attention drawn. You can have multiple little dots. They can be big, they can be really, really tiny. It just depends. The more you have on a certain area of your palm, sometimes a different deity besides the one that your destiny line is pointing to is trying to talk to you. Okay? But we're going to focus on the lines today. The workbook that I'll give you all does give you more areas, and I'll go over those. And then you can also take into account shapes. If you see squares, crosses, ovals, stars, things like that. But again, that's super, super detailed stuff, but that's to give you a general overview. Those will give you much more specific things that your deity is trying to talk to you about. So, one last thing to keep in mind is the deities will have particular names, because in the 4th century BC, Aristotle started his study of palmistry as a philosophy. Okay? The Greeks and the Romans expanded on it first. There is Indian palmistry. There are different civilizations and their kinds of palmistry, but majority of the time they use the Roman names because they were the ones that did it first. So if you don't particularly care for the names or the gods that are pointing to you, that's okay. I'm going to give you some options instead that you can research and you can look things up. But do keep that in mind. We're going to be going based off of Greek and Roman history here a little bit. I really invite you to, if you don't understand their mythology, in the book recommendations, I do give you some resources that you can look at that as well. So, first off, let me catch up on questions first while I pull up my thing. Let's see. Lisa, yes, you are definitely a water cups. That's definitely you. Pamela, that's lack of oxygen in it. Yeah, and if you have white spots too, that'll just show lack of circulation and things like that. There's a lot of reasons why certain colors will pop up. Pamela, thesis, oh my god, I am loving this so much, but I'll have to catch the rest of this on replay. That's okay. Feel free to hop back on and ask your questions. I love questions. Questions are yummy. So even if you can't see this live, be sure to pop questions in. Amethyst, hi. My whole hand is dotted pink, red and pinkish white has always been, except for when Reiki flows. Ooh. So when you're channeling divine energy, it doesn't. That's super interesting. I love it. Ooh, I'm excited to see why. So, again, looking at your destiny line that starts at your wrist and goes up to a finger, okay? We're going to look at one. If you have a line that goes up to your index finger, okay? It can be short, okay? It can be long and go all the way up and literally touch where it connects to your hand. And you might not have one at all. If you don't have one at all, don't worry. Sometimes it takes quite some time for people to show it up. It just means you haven't decided exactly which path you want to be yet. I can probably guess where majority of people are going to be having theirs point to, but we shall see. If you have it going up to this finger, Your index finger is your Jupiter finger. So if you think of Jupiter, that's ruled by Zeus, okay? They're the same person, just the Romans liked a different name. Okay, so it deals primarily with leadership. People who have destiny lines that point up to this finger, generally like philosophy, politics, religion, and it's not religion in the sense of healers and people who are more on the everyday level type of healers. These are like the Pope. Really authority figures when it comes to people with a Jupiter destiny line, okay? Or even legal jobs, like a lawyer or a judge. People of real importance have a Jupiter line, okay? And that's because they like that kind of energy. If you think of Zeus as a god, everybody knows Zeus. He's, no offense, Zeus, but he sleeps with everybody. But he goes and he gets what he wants. He's the cause of a lot of problems for mythology because the gods didn't claim to be perfect. They're just as, stuck up and childish as humans can sometimes be. So think of that, but really in the more, he is the leader on Mount Olympus. He rules the gods. He saved all the gods from dying when he was a baby, So that kind of person with that kind of drive and is a natural born leader, they would work with Zeus very well. Okay? Who here has a Jupiter destiny line? Ooh, that's a very good point, Kai. Sometimes your destiny line will go right in between two fingers. That means you share traits from those two fingers. So it's like astrology where you will share traits from the different houses. It's very similar with palmistry. That's a very good point. Okay? And if you can't tell, it's okay. Sometimes the line is very faint, or like I said, sometimes you can't see it at all. And that just, if you look at my hand, this is my destiny line. Up until this point, it's super dark, but it's very faint everywhere else. It was going towards my pinky, now it's coming up toward the middle finger, which we'll get to in a second. And now the pinky one is starting to fade. And that's because I have changed my career path. I've changed where I want to go. Okay? So sometimes it will be very, very faint. Some people might need a magnifying glass if your eyesight isn't very good. That's okay. But this is just what it would mean if your destiny line was very, very pronounced. Let's see. Amanda says, I have a line, but it doesn't start right on my wrist. It's a bit farther up on the small mound. That's okay. It can be up a little farther. It just means it's stemming from a different area. Yeah, Catherine, yes, some people don't have one. Let's see, Kai, that does make a ton of sense. Yeah, it'll share traits, so you're totally fine. And don't freak out, again, if you don't see them. Your hands, like I said, will change every day, so you'll get one eventually. You're totally fine. Don't feel left out. A lot of people don't have them. So if you have a line that's going up toward your middle finger, like I do, mine is getting more and more pronounced by the day. That is your Saturn finger. So Saturn deals with time, justice, harvest, it's finances, responsibility, obligations, duties, and anything that is important but not on the grand scale of things is your Saturn. Saturn corresponds with the Titan / God, depending on what you want to believe, Kronos, so the father of Zeus. So think of old man Time. He is a Titan. He tried to eat all of his children, but it's more, this is for people that own small businesses and like to teach and are into banking and accounting. People that do the important jobs every single day. Firefighters will have Saturn lines. Same thing with policemen. If they don't decide to become lawyers, then it'll shift. But majority of the people in this group that are really defined and really committed to what they want to do for their life will end up having a Saturn finger. Now, don't freak out If you're really working hard on your business and things are really flowing and it doesn't go towards Saturn, that's okay. All your other fingers can determine that you will still have a small business. It's just going to be in a specific niche. Totally okay. My nope was looking at the wrong spot. Got it now. Yay, you got it. Brittany, oh well, this line really adds up to